Hello and welcome to episode 2 of Spill the Beans. I'm your host, Dean's Beans, here to talk about She-Hulk episode 2. And today I have a very exciting guest. Kai likes movies. Hello, Kai.
Hi, Dean. How are you?
I'm doing good. How are you?
I'm good. Grand.
Ready to talk about She-Hulk?
Of course, always.
Okay. So I've got a very important question to ask you first, and I just wanted your input on this.
Hit me.
What happens to Hawkeye's arrows when he shoots them? Does he go around and collect them, do you think?
I like to think so. I love the idea of post Avengers after they had their shawarma. He was like, "Oh, sorry, I gotta go now," and then spends the next 6 hours collecting arrows from random places.
I mean, there was a bit of that in the Hawkeye TV show, wasn't there, when he lost all his arrows?
He did run out. Yeah, I liked that as well. That's the main thing I'm taking away from these Disney Plus shows is they're answering all the questions I need answering about the MCU.
Is Captain America a virgin?
That was the big one.
Okay. Do you want to tell us your thoughts on the first 2 episodes of She-Hulk?
I watched the first one twice. Mm-hmm. The first time I watched it, I went, "Oh yeah, it was all right. It was fine." And then I watched it a second time and I went, "Oh no, actually it's quite fun. I do enjoy this." Mm-hmm. So I went into today's episode with "Oh no, I'll enjoy it, I'm sure." And I did. I thought it was really fun. I actually preferred this week's to last week's.
Yeah, this kind of feels more like an episode 1.
Sure. Yeah.
Last week's, because last week was quick, let's do the origin, which I'm fine with,
Yeah, it felt a bit more concise, I think, structurally as well. It like you say, it felt like a first episode, a good setup for things to come.
I did read somewhere that apparently they were gonna save her origin until episode 8.
What?
They were gonna save that bit for episode 8 and then do her origin then, and start the show where it started this week. But I think this works better than that.
I see. I thought you meant they were just going to have 8 episodes of nothing and then she turns into She-Hulk in the last episode.
Her just being a lawyer.
Yeah, I actually quite like that they have started her out immediately as She-Hulk because obviously Miss Marvel, she sort of gets it and she's learning, and obviously Jen Walters is learning, but you feel like she is She-Hulk sort of from the get-go, which is nice.
What are your thoughts on a lot of these other Disney Plus shows, and where would you rank this in comparison?
So I'm popular. One of my favorites is actually Falcon and the Winter Soldier. Same. I really enjoyed that show. I think it's incredibly underrated. It was recently taken over by Moon Knight. I really, really enjoyed Moon Knight. Ignoring the last episode, I think it was pretty solid the whole way through.
I feel you could say that sentence about any of these Disney
single Disney and any Marvel film. It was really good until the end.
Yeah, ignoring the last episode, it was really good.
But saying that, Miss Marvel, I think, had the best finale of an MCU Disney Plus show so far. I actually really enjoyed it.
Which doesn't say a lot, to be fair.
I guess not. No. I really enjoyed Miss Marvel. I'm excited to see. I think Miss Marvel did what a lot of the other Disney Plus shows haven't done, which is it's made me excited to see more of Kamala Khan.
Yeah, I get that.
Yeah.
One thing I would say about She-Hulk so far is that this feels more like a television show.
Yes,
than a lot of the others, because they kind of feel like 6-hour-long films.
Sure.
Where this feels more like a TV show. I'm I like this.
I like it. Yeah, I think it's, when you're 8 shows in, it's probably good to have an actual TV show,
Yeah. We should probably make these.
We should make a TV show now. Yeah.
Oh, that's funny. Okay. So episode 2 specifically, I'm trying to think of highlights because we didn't get any good big action scenes or anything like that, which is, who cares?
Yeah. I have 3 moments that I really liked, all of varying sizes.
Are these ranked?
No, just 3 standout moments that I really liked. So I think I'll start with the first one because it will start a conversation. Is Jen's conversation with Abomination in the cell.
I haven't rewatched Incredible Hulk, and I don't really remember that film. I'm going to be honest with you.
Sure. I actually think it's a solid movie. I really liked The Incredible Hulk.
I'm not going to say an opinion on it because I haven't seen it in so long.
Fair enough. Yeah. I think that's one of the reasons I did like the scene is because I enjoy The Incredible Hulk.
Yeah.
And to also kind of have the alternate look at that movie.
Yeah, I think
and
that
like
worked.
Yeah, like I was the Marine that was sent to take the Hulk out, and somehow I'm in prison and he's not.
Well, yeah, because the Hulk is a big villain back then.
Yeah.
That's kind of the point. So I get what you mean. It is a very interesting thing they did, and I enjoyed the quirky little performance. But I think it's difficult to judge that because at the moment, because of how the episode ends, we don't know how much of that is a facade and what they're doing with that character, which is something I'm sure we'll talk about.
Yeah, I definitely think so. The second thing, the highlight, was Jennifer's parents.
Yeah,
I want an Avengers style movie with her parents and Kamala Khan's parents. I want those two worlds to collide, and I want to see a big reality TV show about them.
Everyone thinks they're setting up the young Avengers, but they're actually just setting up the
parent Avengers. Yeah,
and the villain can be Moon Knight's mum.
Sure, she's evil. Yeah, why not? Let's go with that. Yeah.
I enjoyed the end credit scene that involved them, just to jump forward.
It confused me about what was going on to begin with, because I didn't see that Jennifer was like holding the car up, and I was like, why is she just stood there? What's happening? And then I saw her and I was like, oh, I see.
There's a good bit because when the scene started and the dad was like, oh, can I talk to you in here? I thought it was gonna be like, hey, can you lift this thing for me? But then they did like quite a heartfelt scene, and then they saved that joke until the end. So
it was very sweet. I think it was the I told them that you lost your job to make it less awkward for you, so don't worry. And then walks in and immediately is like, so I hear you lost your job. He's like, I told you not to say that. It was great. It was very funny.
What's your third moment?
Oh, it's the funniest joke in the entire of the MCU so far.
Go on.
For me, and it's so minuscule, and no one probably even noticed it. Jen gets the job with the villain law firm, or the superpowered law firm, and she's like, yeah, she says something like, I'm back, and then there's like a cool shot of her like power marching into the office, and she walks straight into the pool door. It really caught me off guard, and I think it's the hardest I've laughed at anything MCU related. So I don't know why, but it was just I'm back, and then strong power walk, and then straight into a door.
A joke I really appreciated in this episode was on the phone call with Bruce.
Yeah.
When he goes, I was a completely different person back then. Literally.
And then Jen just looks
at the camera and goes, haha. I'm like, good joke. That's a good bit.
Yeah. I appreciated that. Yeah. But then it kind of makes me question, because obviously Jen breaks the fourth wall.
Yeah.
Like, what was Bruce referring to then?
Maybe he's just referring to how, like, he was the Hulk and now he's not that guy.
Oh, I guess that would make sense. It was literally threw me.
Yeah.
If he had just said like, I'm a different person, I would have been like, yeah, sure. But he said literally.
The joke should have been, he goes, I'm a different person, and then She-Hulk looks at the camera and goes, literally.
Yeah.
Yeah. I just had this is completely random.
Sure.
So the guy in charge of the other law firm, I know you're someone that's going to understand this as a fan of what I'm about to talk about. Is it just me who thought he really looks like Howard Hamlin?
Yeah, I had the exact same thing. I kind of wish they had cast Patrick Fabian to do it, just because it would have been funny.
That would be so good if he's just like...
Yeah, just Howard Hamlin walks out.
It's a Howard Hamlin variant for sure.
Yeah, 100%. Yeah, I did notice that. Yeah, one thing that worried me about this show, sort of while we're on the subject of like the law part of it, was after the first episode, the writers were like, "Oh, we have no idea how to write a law show, so we're just going to cut most of these scenes out." And it was like, "What?" Like the title is Attorney at Law. Like, what do you mean you don't know how to write a law show?
There was more in this episode, definitely.
Sure. Yeah. I appreciate it. I'm excited to see how Daredevil factors into it.
Exactly, because that's got to be a lawyer thing as well.
Yeah, I wouldn't be surprised if he was there and that's how he ended up becoming Peter Parker's lawyer in No Way Home, I guess. That'd like through cool. That. Yeah.
It's got to tie in somehow. But the whole whether this is going to be a lawyer show or not does interest me. But that makes me ask, where do you think this show is going?
Couldn't tell you. I genuinely I wouldn't even know who the villain could be.
Yeah, because there was like, I was expecting some Titania in this episode. And all we got was that she was fleeing a court for a parking ticket, I think.
Something like that. Yeah.
And they called her a super influencer.
Yes.
Which I find very interesting. I don't know if you're a fan of this show, but it's very like The Boys to me.
I've seen season 1 of The Boys.
Yeah, just the idea of like a super influencer of them just having superpowers. Yeah. And that's very The Boys. But she'll show up, and I don't know if she's going to be the villain or what.
I wouldn't be surprised, because like I feel like from the trailers we've seen most of like we've seen most of the trailer, I think, from what I remember of it anyway, ignoring like the Daredevil stuff.
Yeah.
So I don't know if they're just going to throw us for a loop and it's not actually any of these people. And I think, did you say in your episode last week of this that you think maybe the Hulk could end up becoming a villain in the end? Yeah, I wouldn't be surprised if that maybe happens. I don't know.
The Wrecking Crew, I think, is like rumored or confirmed to be in this one or the other.
Okay, yeah.
So
yeah, were they not supposed to be in something else as well, or maybe it's just
maybe it was. I swear it was this they're in.
It might be this as well as, I don't know. I felt like I heard that they were going to.
I should look this stuff up more often.
Nah, we'll wing it.
Okay, speaking about the trajectory of this show, do you have any theories about what the Hulk is up to?
Not like specifics. I do think, excuse me, I think it will set up World War Hulk.
Yeah, I think that's fair. I reckon he does have a son.
Oh, okay, yeah,
that's my theory.
Yeah. So I know nothing about the World War Hulk story, like comic storyline.
Yeah.
Other than I know that everyone wants it, and I want a solo Hulk film, so I'm keen for it. I do know that this show overlaps with Disney Plus Day, where they announce all their future projects, or at least some of them. So I wouldn't be surprised if maybe like the episode before that, the Disney Plus Day, we get a hint towards it.
Yeah.
Oh, is it the same? Okay, well, with that day we might get like by the way, and then like at the panel they go, yeah, it's World War Hulk, you know.
Yeah, that'd be cool. That'd be cool. So. I think he's got a son, or they're like, oh, now Jeff Goldblum's out the pitch, we want you to be the ruler of Sakaar.
Yeah, I don't know. It's what confused me. I should have rewatched that scene. Is in the first episode when that the ship comes to Bruce and Jen in the car. Does it shoot at them, or does it?
No, it just hovers there, and then she just crashes because she's trying to avoid it. Which whoever's like programmed the ship or was flying the ship, not a great idea.
No,
you're like,
not
if you're trying to pass on a message, don't just like hover in front of them.
Yeah,
and then, whatever. But
also, where did it go? Like, if you see them crash off, like, surely you'd follow. I don't know, unless maybe Bruce had to chat with them, because we don't actually see what happens to him after.
That's true.
Yeah.
Well, yeah, he says they're sending some kind of message. Just to give you and our listeners like a very brief overview of how World War Hulk starts in the comics.
Sure.
Hulk, this is a long time ago since I've even read this, so we'll see how well I do. This is Planet Hulk, this bit. So the Illuminati put Hulk in a spaceship and fly him into space to get him off the planet. He lands in Sakaar, which is the planet in Thor Ragnarok, and it's the whole gladiator thing. And then he becomes king of this planet. He has a son and a wife on this planet. And then the ship the Illuminati sent him on explodes and kills everyone. So he's like, oh, I'm going to go to Earth and kill everyone. And that's what he does.
Crazy. I mean, they could do that in She-Hulk. It seems a bit weird.
I think if they're going to do World War Hulk, it's going to be just, oh, the Hulk's gone real angry again. Oh, no.
Yeah, they'll do like a Civil War type, where they sort of take the very basic, like, this is what happens, and then completely flip it.
Exactly. Okay. What else is there in it? There's the Wolverine little.
I still don't know what scene that's from, but I've seen screenshots of the.
Yeah, it's when they're job searching on the sofa, her and her paralegal.
Yeah.
A job searching. I don't know if I would have noticed it, but like I saw it online before watching the episode, so I was like, oh.
Yeah, I think Andrew's Visuals posted like a screenshot from the Wolverine like video game that's coming out, and like the theatrical trailer, and it's like the back of him, and he's like, anyone notice this reference? Yeah. And I was like, I didn't know there was a Wolverine reference. But okay.
Yeah.
But it's cool. I don't know. Maybe, I mean, I guess it is definitely hinting at Wolverine. There's no one else I can think of that it could be.
But like, is it just a hint, or is it more like something more than that? I think is the question, because I think it is just a little hint, you know, something they're like, oh, let's chuck this in there for a bit of fun.
Yeah, I can't imagine they'd reveal Wolverine in She-Hulk, a Disney Plus show, you know? I feel like that would be quite a big thing you'd want to announce somewhere else.
Sorry to get into all of this, but like, can you introduce Wolverine now and be like, oh, hey, this guy's a mutant and mutants exist?
Yeah, I wouldn't be surprised if we didn't get any X-Men stuff, or at least not like, obviously we know Kamala Khan is now is a mutant.
Yes.
But I wouldn't be surprised if it was like the X-Men took place after the next two Avengers movies, you know, like the multiverse kind of collides and then we get mutants.
Yeah, like the next saga is going to be like the mutant saga.
Yeah, now you've said that. Yeah.
And we will get stuff before that, but we're not going to get like an X-Men movie.
It'll be like things like we got with Miss Marvel, where it's like, oh, you have mutant DNA.
It's going to be every other project. Someone's going to say something, then we'll just hear.
Yeah, exactly. Which I'm fine with. I'm cool.
How are you finding the fourth wall breaks in this show so far? Do you want more, less, same?
I enjoyed them a lot more this episode because I actually thought they were quite funny, and I liked when Jen's walking through the office and she's talking about how, oh no, they're all going to think that because I'm She-Hulk, I got the job through that.
Yeah.
I kind of wish we did have a little bit more, so it's not so jarring when she does it.
It does, yeah. It kind of feels like if you're gonna break the fourth wall, like nothing in the MCU has before to this extent.
Yeah.
I feel like you've got to like focus on it a bit, you know?
Yeah, I agree. I think not like Deadpool levels, you know, where he's like constantly doing it, but just enough that it, and even if it's like, just her narrating throughout the scenes, you know, I don't know.
Not like it has to affect the plot or anything like that either. It's just, it feels a bit tacked on.
A little bit. It's like, oh, what can we do to make this one original? I know, fourth wall breaks because she does it in the comics, but it does just come across, especially the first episode, like other than the first scene, when I think she does it like 2 more times. Mm-hmm. Although I did like that one joke when she sat at the bar and she does it for the first time and then she sort of like double, like she looks twice, but she's like, wait, what? But yeah, I mean, again, it's kind of difficult to like judge it on these things when we're only 2 episodes deep, you know, because they could in 3 episodes time, it could be like this big, huge thing. We could have one whole episode where it's just her talking to the camera. That would be fun.
That'd be fun. So I've asked you what you think is going to happen with this show.
Yeah.
What do you want to happen? Like, what's the one thing you really want out of She-Hulk in the next 7 episodes?
Oh, I really want them to carry on with Jen not being sure if she wants to be a superhero and actually focusing on the negative sides of being an Avenger. I know like Spider-Man kind of touches on it, on how like it destroys your life and stuff. But you know, she says in this episode stuff like, do the Avengers have healthcare? Do they have maternity leave? Do they have holiday pay?
The Falcon and the Winter Soldier as well.
Yeah, and it's like I like that, because at first you are like, oh, being an Avenger would be cool, and then you think about it and it's like, do they get paid? Do they have, you know, if She-Hulk had a baby, would she get maternity leave? Like, what happens then? And,
would the baby be green? No.
Exactly. Important questions.
These are the important questions I want this show to answer. That silly joke just made me forget my very important point. What am I like? No,
I'd like to see that carry on.
Yeah, I have read in like interviews that the only reason Tatiana Maslany agreed to play She-Hulk was because she liked this idea of her not really wanting to be a superhero and her being like, oh, I've got a career, and like that's a fun element to this character. And
I hope by the end of the series, like, obviously I want her to appear in future projects. I'd love for her to be in the Avengers and stuff. I don't want her to get to the end of the series and her be like, yeah, I'm an Avenger. I want her to be like, no, I'm a lawyer and I'll do that to help people when I need to. Because I think that would completely take away from her job and how cool it is that she is this lawyer, you know?
Yeah. At the moment, my thing would be more lawyering is what I want.
Yes. Yeah.
We didn't even talk about the whole Shang-Chi connection, but there's not much to say about that.
I don't think it's going to be a big part. I think it's just so that now she has the thing of like, oh, he escaped, or as far as we know, he escaped, and that will play into the next episode.
But I think this is how Wong ties in.
Yeah, I guess he'll then get. Oh, I've just had a thought. If the post-credit scene of Shang-Chi is Bruce Banner is talking to them, right? And he's got but that's going to then take place after this episode at some point.
But I think the Shang-Chi end credit scene must happen before this show takes place, because Bruce Banner is in human form with the thing on his arm. Are we not
assuming that the scene at the end of this episode is that scene in Shang-Chi?
No, I think it is. I think that footage maybe was just released quite later on.
Oh, okay, yeah, that would make more sense.
Because I don't get it. It doesn't make total sense. But
didn't they say that he'd escaped? And there's footage.
They said, "Oh, we got footage to prove that he escapes, but we don't know." I guess the argument could be, "Oh no, that happened like a few months ago."
Oh, okay, cool.
I'm sure.
Yeah, because otherwise it just wouldn't make sense, because Bruce has his like arm sling and
this is me just trying to explain the faults within this show. You know.
Yeah, I guess it is difficult when you have 100 projects releasing over a 6-month period and trying to get the timeline right, especially because they do seem to jump back and forth. There's no chronological order for these so far.
Back in the day, it was just released. They happened in the order they were released, and now what's going on?
Yeah, I have no idea. Like, I don't even know if this takes place before No Way Home. Like, actually, that's well, when does, because they said like a Daredevil episode, like an episode of Daredevil Wing could end with him being like, "Oh, I've got to go help with this spider kid now."
Or maybe that's already happened. Who knows?
Yeah.
And frankly, who cares? No, I'm joking.
No, but also, just take it with a pinch of salt.
Like, when people are like, "Oh, I hate this movie because it disagrees with the MCU canon," I'm like, "Who cares?" Like, obviously that's annoying, but it doesn't.
Not like to the minuscule sort of things. That doesn't bother me. Don't get me wrong. If they were like, "Oh, this took place before Endgame," I'd be like, "I'm sorry." What? We know that it takes place after Eternals, so I don't know if that gives us like a rough estimate, because they under the Wolverine thing.
Yeah, I don't want to think about this for too long, because it's making my head hurt. Because who knows what's going on?
Yeah. Maybe that's the point, multiverse.
Or maybe every single show just takes place in a slightly different dimension. Yeah.
It's possible. Yeah.
My last question for you. I should have pre-warned you about this, because I'm putting you on the spot a bit. Just give me one wild prediction for this show.
Okay. I think at least, other than Daredevil, I think at least 2 more of the Defenders will rock up at some point.
Oh, 2?
I'm going to go with 2, because that seems a bit more out there than like, oh, Jessica Jones. I'm going to say like Jessica Jones and maybe Luke Cage. I feel like Luke Cage is... I don't think Iron Fist will...
That would be wild if they were like...
Yeah.
I think Luke Cage and Punisher will come back eventually.
Well, I didn't even think of the Punisher. Yeah. I think my wild one will be that 2 more of the Defenders rock up.
Okay, that is a wild prediction. And on that note, I'd like to thank you for joining me.
Thank you for having me.
Plug your TikTok or anything else.
It's just Kai likes movies. I talk about movies I like.
Yeah, and it's all good stuff. So your links will be in the description. So
thank you very much.
Can go and check that out, and they will go and check that out.
I hope so.
I will be as bold as to say they will.
I'll be going through my comments going, "Dean sent me here," and I'll be like, "Cool."
Comment. Dean sent me here. I'm gonna have to log into all my other accounts and comment that now.
Yes, please do.
Just to make sure. Anyway, thanks for joining.
No worries. Thank you for having me.
And I'll see everyone next week to talk about episode 3. Bye.